Welcome to the Black Phoenix Financial Podcast. Lee Kemp here for another week of financial learning. Of course, with Ethan Cope, the man with the silver hammer. How are you doing, my friend?
Doing good. Great to be with you.
Excellent, excellent. So, where are we this week?
Well, we've all heard that expression, the skills to pay the bills. We got to have the skills in order to pay the bills. And that's where we're at with trading. We've actually, up to this point, we've developed the skills. We have a very particular set of skills, like from that movie Taken.
Liam Neeson.
Yeah, that make us very dangerous for the market. And we can be dangerous to the market, or we can have a danger to ourselves. But fortunately, like Lee showed us, is that those few trades that he's made just early in his learning can very much be profitable trades. So in order to continue to develop those skills, we give our little 5-minute tidbit for you busy bees and you fast learners who have to learn on the fly. We'll call you weekend warriors in terms of trying to get an education. So the skills that we've already developed are actually enough to be consistently profitable. So for you weekend warriors, the thing to do now is to simply refine those skills. It does take the practice to get where you want to go. And while there's no magic pill or magic medicine that's going to get you, or education that's going to get you right up there like a rocket and suddenly you're a multimillionaire, there are shortcuts that having a mentor helps with. So while you can take a tidbit that we're giving you guys in 5 minutes to take something and solidify it in your mind and try to brush up on it on the week, one of the things you're going to want to do is, for those weekend warriors in your off time, say it be Saturday, say it's a few nights a week where you spend gaming or maybe drinking time with friends, to sit down and do some chart game like me and Lee are doing, to really get that practice in, because the skills to know what's right aren't enough. The skills to know what not to do is actually what you're going to learn in chart game. So for our 5-minute learners, I hope that you can take that little tidbit about skills and brushing up and taking what you've learned up to this point and then simply refining it with practice. So we're going to look at some of Lee's charts now, and we're going to continue to make some trades and build on what we covered last week regarding the key levels that we talked about 2 episodes ago, and then also the pay yourself idea. We're going to keep going with that.
Excellent stuff. Love it. So yeah, for you, the 5-minute learners out there, some great little tips there. If you want to know more about this, we expand on this for a full half hour. You're either on the show now, stick with us, or if you're on the quick 5-minute video, click for the longer video. You'll get a more detailed view on how you refine and use those skills. And as is the lesson I learned in lesson 1, it's all about that practice. We've got a suite. I think we're on our 12th lesson now. If you go back, if you do want to see this, as Ethan says there, we have now dished out enough information in 11 weeks to give you what you need to become a profitable trader. In a minute, we're going to click on, and I'm going to show you that I've done that in the last week. And I know I talk about it, and it is genuine. I knew nothing about trading before we started doing this. So there's some great lessons there. We will keep chucking out each and every week these little 5-minute videos and the longer ones as well. As I say, click on the longer video if you want to see it, if you've appreciated this, or you're with us on the longer video, you're in the right place now, and we're going to dive into those trades and start putting those skills into practice live, which, fingers crossed, does not go wrong. Don't forget, of course, check us out on social media. We are on Twitter at BP Financial Pods. Ethan is at T4A Phoenix. That's T4A PHENUX. appreciate all the support and the love going on the social media for us as well. So, shall we load up some chart game?
Yeah, let's work on those simulations.
So I'll just show you quickly. This is what I've done in the last week. So you told me to go off and start actually doing some short in and out trades on chart game. These are my little stats that you get up on chart game. So these are, you've got, first of all, these are my 2 accidental trades that I did way back when I didn't mean to.
Okay, I'm looking at one of them. I'm like, that's excellent.
There was no luck. That was just hitting the wrong button at the wrong time. So we can discount them. But then here we go. So I did straight, and you know, these first ones here, you can see these are literally, I did these after we finished recording while I was waiting for the show to render to load it up onto YouTube. And you see a few. So first 3, all little bits of money taken out, which was good. As I went through, and you can, you know, it shows it to show there's a balance to this. Not on every one did I get it exactly right. So there's a couple, and I learned. So for example, where you talk about, you know, applying the skills that I've learned, key things I was looking out for were, you know, volume of momentum in the trades. So it's loads of reds going on or little bars. I knew it was going nowhere. Those magic 3 end-to-end candles, of course, and the top line as well. So where it was saying, what's the proper term for that top line?
That would be the resistance, overhead resistance.
Overhead resistance. Seeing when it was there, and I've noticed as well that if you get the 3 end-to-end candles, but it's at that resistance line, that's not necessarily a time to jump in, because unless it's going to push through, you've already maxed out. And I saw that happen quite a lot with that as well, where it would do that and just dip back down. Where if it's way below its resistance and got the 3 candles, it was normally a better pace to jump in and jump out. And I did a few that went against what you told me in the past, where it was at that line, but I wanted to go in on one because I was being a bit impatient, and then it didn't work out. And that's a few of these reds here, but that's good. It's solidified in my head to be that sniper and wait for the right moment.
Okay.
And I did most of them are ones where I just did one in the trade. This last one here, I know, I don't know if it shows you any detail if you click on it. Oh, it does as well. Look at this learning chart game on the screen, where I think it doesn't give you a summary.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you can actually play through the game where your entries and exits were, or if it just lets you play through the chart.
It's rolling on the chart. Let's see if it shows me. See if it shows us.
Okay.
We'll just do it on this one. Maybe we'll do it a bit quicker as well. There we go. We hit the fast button on the speed. As you can see, it went down massively at the start. And there we go. I lost out there. Went in 3 little ones.
Okay, excellent.
Was stupid.
It does show you.
3 little tiny ones. Probably wasn't too confident. I hit it though. One I regretted doing it on. But this is one I stayed in on. So I lost out there. But then I saw a chance to recoup it, which I did there. So I still came out very slightly down. But as you can see, I had a bad one. So down for 0.07 and then up for 0.04. So I did gather a little bit back. And then this one just kind of stayed at that same level, I think, for the rest until I got bored and checked out.
Gotcha. Yeah, it seems like little FOMO trades there, pretty much.
Yes, you're absolutely, and that's exactly what I've done there.
I was thinking with the other trades, how you were talking about using the key levels and how different times when you think it's going to break a key level, it retraces, and then later on it might break that level.
Yeah, and so I looked for the pattern you said about as well with the wick, and it often played through that it would, you know, it would either open, it would close either up or down with quite a big wick, and then within the hour it normally realized that wick whichever direction it was going.
Thank you. I'm glad that is a really telling indicator, those few things. And that's why as well with that wick, or when you said that it looks like it might go a direction, but then it fakes you out, you know, it doesn't necessarily push through. And that's why I like that idea that we learned about planting flags.
Yeah.
And I use the purple color on my charts when I put a square flag at that price, and it tells me that, like we learned in the past, that the buyers and sellers are considering that area at some time. And what you'll find is, even if it doesn't realize it that day, it may even realize it the next day. But those flag plantings, or when we plant flags, it allows us to hypothesize.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm glad you got to use that or saw that in action.
So I got, you know, it just in between spare time and stuff, got a few in, and the bit I like most on here as well, you can see, so there's my first two accidental trades, but then
Okay.
this last week then is here, and you know, a little couple of knockbacks, but overall some upward momentum for me, which I'm pleased with.
Very good, Lee. Very good. And it does, it keeps track of how many in your profile, it keeps on track of how many charts you've actually seen.
Yes, that's down here,
And
isn't it?
it really gives you a good idea of how much. The one thing that this is really good at is it's really good at saying how much effort that you're putting in the downtime. And effort in the downtime is so big, and that's one of the things that Brett Steenbarger said multiple times. Is these people who, you want to be a professional athlete, you want to be somebody that's working on a unique product, you are passionate about something. You know, there's not a 9 to 5 mentality there, that you're willing to work on it
Yeah.
as much as it takes. And this is a really good way to gauge that. You know, when you look down here and you see how many charts you've looked through, you know,
And you can see that because, you know,
versus,
number of trades there, which he said isn't illustrative of the charts, but overall, you know, there's been a fair bit of practice as well where I haven't been looking to trade, but I've actually played, look at that, rounding up 14%, which means I have not played. I've just observed 86% of the charts I've looked at. So there's a lot of watching going on in that as well. A lot of practicing, assessing, running it through in my head as well, which,
and that tells you your win rate as well,
yeah,
you know, because you weigh that 86% that you didn't take, the 13% that you did, and then you weigh that against uh, your wins and losses. And like, as a beginner, your win rate is crazy high. You know,
I hope, because it's been a really, we talked before we went live, didn't we? But for both of us, it's been quite a hectic week the last week, best laid plans and all that. So I've not done it as much as I would want to. So as I intensify over the next few weeks, I'm hoping that win rate can stay quite steady at 73% there, which I'm quite pleased with. So, you know, looking at 13%, 14% of the charts there are, but then hopefully living that sniper mentality, getting a good win rate within there. But as you pointed out in the one we watched, I've got to fight that fear of missing out thing, because that is there with me, and that's where I've got to improve my discipline. And whenever you see that with me, you've got to call that out, because that is what I will do. Speaking of
well,
which,
it's honestly some of these things, and that's why it's so important to get this conditioning, is because the professional traders deal with those emotions, the fear of missing out. And the professional traders take trades that they shouldn't have. The professional traders make some of the very same mistakes that beginners make. They just make less of them,
yeah,
and their wins, you know, the things that they do well, are so big. So this skill that you're learning, and I continue to learn, getting familiar with the ebb and flow of market conditions, the skills
and
to
the
pay
thing,
them bills.
we're going to go in, we're going to do some charts live. It's been a while since we did like half a show on charts. I'm looking forward to doing this. Always make some good viewing and some good listening. But the thing I want to emphasize to everyone who is watching and listening, and I'm going to cut this and I'm going to stick it on social media as well, is that in 11 weeks, and it's not even 11 weeks, it's 11 weeks of an hour or half an hour of talking to Ethan and me going away and taking that and practicing on what I've been taught. I've got a 73% win rate on looking at charts. And that's not me. That is Ethan and his system and how well this is. So if this is your first time, go back, invest that little bit of time in watching what we've done so far. Hit that subscribe button, podcast player, YouTube. Stick with us because you can have that level of win rate as well. This is not, this
That's
isn't
awesome.
fabricated. It's not staged. This is all real, good and bad, and we'll be showing it as we go through as well. So
that's a really good point, Lee. That's a really good point, Lee. And for me, I simply, you don't want to give up. I mean, I don't want to give up on things. So you look at the ways you can learn something the best way, the simplest way, how you can cut through a lot of the commotion that goes on in the market each day and find yourself, find how you can understand and interact with the market in a predictable manner, a role-based system. So, well, along with that system that we've been learning, you care to walk us through what you believe is support.
Absolutely. So I see here, and of course, call me out to make sure I'm giving out the right info here. But the open or the closing here, so it's closed at its resistance line almost at 1910. You've got a bottom there at about 18.9 as well. And not well, I suppose relatively large volume of trades, just at the midline there is 250k, but fairly quiet throughout the day. And just that, like you said, happens in that crazy last hour, a bit of a surge of buys at the end of the day as well. Right. So we'll see where it goes, but unless it pushes through, it's not got a lot of room to go, has it? Oh, look, we're up off the start.
A little bit of buyer interest.
Oh, so we've got a few ups and downs, a big up there. What are you seeing?
What I've learned, and this helps go along into our personality, is you start to see with each of these bars, you have immediately as you click on it, the bar looks full, and then there's a significant retrace. So it's like the sellers start out with big volume, and then that whole area that they thought about gets retraced on. So that helps us to identify the kind of teenage girl mentality. This looks like it went from teenage girl to Navy SEAL.
Yeah.
It didn't have all the big ups and downs and volatility that we associate with the teenage girl, but it's something we can talk about in later episodes. Is because of how those bars were acting, it makes me think that it's a lower float.
Yeah.
Which means it can be erratic. So that would be a signal for a long. I just wouldn't overdo it, and I would keep it tight.
Yeah. And you say you got here, and again, just for the sake of those listening as well, because it opened, it's a little bit up and down, and then we had quite a gap up there, and another one now. But preceding it was a downward. It closed down, and it had a big wick down as well. So I see what you mean about the teenage girl bit, and it's not erratic, but it's unsure, and then it's jumped and jumped. So is this the place for me to go in on the short trade bit, or it feels a bit like I'm not sure what it's going to do next, if I'm honest?
Yeah, I'd actually like to see, and my guess here, because of just how it acted real quick, is I wouldn't be surprised if it had a big swing down as a correction, or even a much bigger swing up. So that helps. And I would feel confident going long here.
Yeah, let's put in here. Let's see what we get.
With the tight, then that's how you use your risk. Yeah, so it went against you. And then you stop out there for your loss. Pretty big loss, $500.
There we go. Let's see where we go. But it's like you said, it's the
So,
ups and downs, isn't it?
right, yeah.
And it seems to have now it's reset at a new top level there at about 19, just over 19.3, isn't it?
So if it would end to end again, uh, before that level, I would be interested in it. But that's what I was saying. We have the teenage girl in volatility, and
Yeah,
then you have the teenage girl in float size, like how the stock is acting. And I like what we just said, as I wouldn't be surprised if it got whipsawed
yeah,
right there, and that's exactly what it did. Um, we'll talk about that. I feel like we should probably talk about that more in the next episode. How to gauge how um, the way the stock acts in smaller time frames
yeah.
goes into the personality as well. So there we just had a real time loss to work with, and we saw how when it whipsaws against us that we just cut it rather than thinking, oh wow, it could totally retrace because it had both of those end to ends in that gap up.
Yeah,
Um,
but it was
but
the
we
right call because as we can see, as it goes on, we'd be we'd be even further in the hole right now. We were hoping against hope, wouldn't we?
exactly, and we didn't have, like we talked about, we didn't have any risk on in this trade because we didn't have profits to work off of. So if say we had already been making some profit in this chart,
Yeah,
we may give it a little bit more room because of the sentiment, but we didn't have any profit right off the bat, and so there was no risk to build into. We could try looking for another trade on
yeah.
the
I'm gonna
next
say
chart if you
we'll
want.
cut out on this one. Goodbye, 0.5% loss.
It's okay. It's part of the gig, and the best thing that you can do is for the very next trade, you look over your rules again, think about your rules, what we're looking for, and then stick to your rules again and just keep moving forward.
That's it. Draw a line under that last one and move on. Don't give me. I don't want to replay it. That's just sticking the knife in chart game. We're having. I went to go on yesterday actually, and it was down at whatever time I went to go on. They must have been doing some work on it, and it's been a bit glitchy now. Those watching can see.
Gotcha. Yeah, I've had some glitches here and there too. I think it's a fairly popular platform, and so that goes along with
Right, let me
the
just. I'll take it off for a second to stop the
server
whirring screen, and I'll try and get us back on there again.
server inconsistencies.
Fear not, though, we will get back into chart game. I won't know what to do with all my downtime if there isn't chart game to go on to.
It's good. Uh, Good information there, and the good way to condition. And then we have the other ways where we can simply, in our brokerage account, you can place what I always do with my trades is I place green and red arrows where I've entered
Yeah.
and where I've exited, just like on Charking, when I'm actually making my buys and sells. But for someone else who wants to do the paper trading or the simulation as well, as the day goes on, if there's a stock you're interested in, you can place those fantasy arrows as well. Perhaps use a light green arrow and an orange exit or something like that. And
And that
then,
works. That works really well. You saw, didn't we, a few weeks ago? I did that with chart game before I started pressing the button where I simulated it, and I got as much as a buzz from doing that when it worked out well as I did from doing it here. It's a really, again, it's another level of practice, isn't it, for what you're doing?
Excellent. Yeah, that's for certain. And it's helpful that you can go back even and look at what you did right, what you did great, what you did that wasn't so great, and how to keep those losses small, and manageable.
We may have to draw a line under our chart gaming for day. It seems to have, oh no, we're back. I think we can squeeze in one
Okay.
more chart. Here we go. It's all suddenly come back to life again.
Okay,
Right.
great. And then we have the market's been interesting this week. Once again, we made an all-time high, and there has been some correction in the electric vehicle market as well, which allows for some opportunities. So we'll talk about the opportunities for the week in terms of the real trades.
Excellent.
And
Let's do, oh, sorry, my
okay,
friend. We'll do one more run through, and then so we'll talk on that. And is that a bit of a link to the Tesla stock there you're talking about with the electric vehicle area? It's everyone's favorite at the moment.
Yeah, Tesla for sure. And I have a little low priced one that I've been watching.
I like that.
Hopefully
Your tips
anticipate a
always
move
work
on.
out, so it'll be very good. So here we've got a roller coaster of a day we're going into, a mix of buys and sells, bit more momentum of buys. We've got top line there, 74, just over 74, bottom of just over 73.
So take note.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, take note as we watch the bars when we see next bar, how the bar moves.
Okay.
Does it seem like it's really springy, it's really fast, and it holds on to the changes it's made, or is it like the last one where it seems erratic, and it retraces but doesn't hold on to much?
Oh, well, there you go. There was a big erratic one there, wasn't there? Up, down, and back up again.
Yep.
A bit more. It seems to be erratic on the up and a bit more considered when it's closing lower.
Could be, right? And then we're gonna watch those lines that we talked about, the 73.25.
Yeah.
And then the other area right below, it would be 73.80 or so, to see if they break in a certain area. So this would be something I'd be interested in shorting.
Yeah.
They call that the death line. And that'll be an exciting aspect of our trading in the future, where yeah, I mean, if I had taken a starter, I'd be out now because it didn't continue.
Yeah. But like you said, it's that opportunity to go in and out quickly and minimize the losses if the theory doesn't pan itself out. What do you think here on the way back up? It's giving a bit of momentum. We got 3 in a row.
Yeah, but at the same time, I'd like to, because it hasn't been confident in that range, I'd still like to see it bust through the 73.80.
Yeah,
area.
That makes complete sense. And well, there you go. Let's see. Yeah,
and
we're sticking around the middle, aren't we?
Yeah, that helps give us, the trader, a clear area, and that everybody looking at the stock, that it's making a definitive decision, or at least looks like definitive. So it went through all that, and it's still showing selling around that bottom area. So I'd love to, if I was going to take a short position, I'd love to see it full body bars put pressure on that bottom support like it continues to do. And then it seems like it would be a more confident short if it breaks that area.
Yeah.
But definitely not something to buy.
Oh, look at that. It's built. No. It keeps teasing that build of momentum, doesn't it? And then stops.
Exactly. Yeah. And you think for either side that they could kind of lose their shirt.
Yeah.
So with our sniper mentality, so that's a clear signal to go down. But with our sniper mentality, we want to totally avoid things that don't give clear signals.
Absolutely. This is, like you said, this is one to stick on my 86% pile and not do anything with it.
There you go.
Absolutely. Right. I will do a lot more of them during the week. We'll do some more next week as well. But you gave us a tease there, so give us your view on the real world.
Excellent. Well, we've been ADT has been on the watch for a while because of their relationship with Google. They had an offering because of COVID and the economic situations that business was going through, and then apparently Google has a stake around the 7%, 7 to 9% area. And what Google's doing with ADT and actually in the home too is trying to make a lot of different things automated. So you can be watching TV, you can be participating in your entertainment, and then also aware of who's at the front door, what other situations are going on in the house. So that's an interesting, anything under 8 or under 9 would be a nice potential buy for ADT. And then because there was a sell-off in electric vehicle manufacturers, I also like Kindi, KNDI. I don't remember exactly what the business does, but it's something associated with EV. And it's the right price, the right volume. So anything, any pullbacks on that, I'd also consider to be something for a beginner to watch and see how it moves. And if somebody wants to put a few dollars on it, you know, that would stay interesting. So keep practicing, keep developing those skills, so we don't have to worry about bills.
100%.
Right.
Thanks again. I will keep that practice going during the week. You saw there, and like we said, we keep it real. So there was one that didn't work out, and you just seen through my week that happened probably a quarter, maybe a fifth of the time. But that means, 4 out of every 5 were good ones as well. So just keeping that practice going, not being impatient like me. That is important. I cannot emphasize that enough. Again, we thank everyone for watching and listening. Whatever podcast platform you're on, if you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. Leave us a review if we deserve it. Send us out some love on social media. Again, we are at VP Financial Pod. Ethan is at T4A Phoenix. That is T4A PHENUX. We will be back again next week with some more education. He's been Ethan Cope with the Silver Hammer. I've been Lee Kemp, and this has been the Black Phoenix Financial Podcast.